All good things must come to an end, unfortunately, and this will be the last video of Parallax Month. Thank you for coming along for the ride. If I had to make one sweeping statement about Between the Buried and Me, and I really resent you for forcing me to do this, it would be that they have more convoluted and interesting formal designs than just about any other metal band that I know well. Their rhythms and harmony and riffs are all really cool, but I've always been especially drawn to how they put their long songs together, which generally comes down to digging deep into how they reuse material. Of course, there are tons of ways that material that you've already heard returns on this album. I've talked about some of the medium and shorter term versions of this in the other videos of this series, but this video will be about the really long-term stuff, which is also all over the place on Parallax 2. They reuse riffs and sections in a million different ways. Sometimes it's something obvious, like when they repurpose this brief isorhythm from the Parallax 1 EP on Extremophile Elite.
Walking into a certain state of 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 walking into a certain state of
And sometimes it's a lot less obvious, like when they reuse this really quick figure from the development section of Layer Goes to Rest in Extremophile Elite. Or this tiny little phrase from the ending of Astral Body, again in Extremophile Elite. And they're not always in Extremophile Elite, I promise. And then there's this like blurry area where it's like, is that a return of something distinctive, or is that just part of their guitar language? Like this descending triplet thing that you hear in the development of Layer Goes to Rest, and then in a similar form in Telos. But I'm going to talk about a very specific set of these types of long-term, kind of less obvious returns in this video, because they do this crazy thing on Parallax 2 of bringing back significant snippets from all of the album's longer songs in the last big track, Silent Flight Parliament. Let's make this a game. Your score is how many of these you noticed, and if there are any that I missed, you get a point for those too. There are probably more than the ones that I've noticed. I did this analysis years ago and I stopped looking once I found something from all of the long tracks. And you know, once you've been like looking at something for a long time, it's hard to see anything new. But there are probably more that I never noticed, and it would, you know, I'd have to actually learn to play this whole thing through on guitar probably to find all of them, which I'm not going to do right now. Maybe someday. But anyways, let me know how you do in the comments. Also, I should apologize up front for not playing these on guitar. It's simply too many more riffs to learn and record, and it would delay this video by like a month. And that wouldn't be very much in the spirit of Parallax Month now, would it? I'll go in order of the tracks on the album, which isn't necessarily the order that these returns show up in Silent Flight Parliament. Let's get to it. First, remember this chord progression from the last section of Astral Body? Well, what if we bring it back like an hour later on the album with a different vocal melody? That would be kind of cool, right? Moving on, remember the first riff from Layer Goes to Rest? Well, let's get rid of the turnaround and bring it back on Silent Flight Parliament. This is probably one of the more obvious of this collection of returns. Remember this very short riff in Extremophile Elite? You can hardly even call it a riff. It's kind of like a little transition gesture. Well, that also comes back in Silent Flight Parliament. This is probably one of the harder ones to notice because it's so short. Remember this riff ending that I pointed out was an expanding return in my Telos video? Well, what if it was expanded even more into its own section almost 25 minutes later on the album, in Silent Flight Parliament? And finally, remember this bass vamp in Melting City? Well, why don't we go ahead and rhythmically rearrange it a little bit and bring it back in the next song, Silent Flight Parliament. So yeah, there's one from every long song from Parallax 2. I'm a little surprised that I haven't found anything like really concrete from Bloom. Like obviously there's kind of the hints of that sort of like whole tone carnival music sound world, but I don't think I found anything completely concrete. But also Bloom and Silent Flight Parliament are the two songs that I haven't ever played all the way through. So that's probably why. I have an academic project that's in the middle stages of its life right now, where I talk about the purpose of a bunch of types of returns. And in that, I argue that these long-term, not very obvious ones are Easter eggs that reward close, nerdy, musicianly attention from fans. In other words, filmmakers will often leave hidden clues, jokes, and references in their work that encourage fans to keep digging deeper into the film's universe. And I'm arguing that it's the same thing here. The promise of finding these types of connections makes it fun to dig deeper into Between the Buried and Me's music, to immerse yourself in learning to play it, and to be a nerd about it. Let me know what you think about this and if this is true for you, and also let me know how many of these you've noticed before, and if there are any other ones that I missed in this song in the comments. Thank you for coming on this exciting journey of a Parallax month with me. I hope it's made this amazing album even more fun for you. See ya.